Is it still morning? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's always a great day. We get to have the governor and the lieutenant governor here with us in Newark this morning for an incredible announcement. I have to obviously acknowledge people from the Environmental Commission, Natalie from my office, Sustainability, DPW here under the direction of Director Thomas, who's doing an awesome job down here for sure. Our commissioner that's here, NJDEP. Thank you, everybody that's with us this morning who did not think it robbery to come out on this day to participate in this announcement. We are excited and overwhelmed that we were able to get two, I believe, of these electric vehicles, these trucks, here in the city of Newark. It is an incredible opportunity for us. Look, we estimate that each one of the vehicles that we are replacing will reduce our carbon footprint by nearly 70 tons. That's 139,000 pounds of carbon dioxide per year, which is a huge thing for us here in the city of Newark, where we have the burden of taking on some of the state's heavy environmental issues, particularly the particulate matter in the air. And so these new electric vehicles begins to pave the way for us to do our entire fleet and move on to the police as well. And this is what we want to continue to do here in the city of Newark. I just want to congratulate and thank, obviously, the governor for his announcement of more than $100 million in clean, equitable transportation projects and picking Newark as one of the places as well, and a new executive order that's going to be signed this morning. These are great things that are happening in the middle of this pandemic. It means that the governor is forward-thinking. He knows we're going to get out of this, and we still have work to do to make sure the New Jersey is clean, is safe, is equitable, and that begins right here in the largest city in the state, in Newark, New Jersey. So I want to thank the governor once again, the lieutenant governor, everybody who helped make this day a reality for us. That being said, he doesn't need any introduction. I want to bring on our governor, the greatest governor in the country, Governor Phil Murphy.
I just said to the mayor, it's all downhill with that kind of introduction, man. There's nothing I can say. I'm going to yield the floor to Sheila. Lord, I'm going to take this off only because I'm afraid, particularly with two masks, I'm not going to be understood. By the way, that's the new norm, unfortunately, that we got to live with. It won't be forever, but a double mask is the strong advice. Good morning, everybody. Mayor Ras J. Baraka, let's hear it for the greatest mayor, not just in New Jersey, but maybe in the United States of America. Thank you so much for welcoming us back to Newark and for that introduction. As always, I know I speak for Sheila and our entire administration. We are so grateful for your friendship and your extraordinary leadership of this great city. We're also honored to have a whole lot of other important partners and champions for environmental justice with us at every level of government. One more time, let's hear it from my partner in government, the one and only Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver. I know the county executive wanted to be here today. He could not, but I want to also acknowledge County Executive Joe DiVincenzo. I want to give a shout out to our brothers and sisters in labor, and we're going to hear from one of them, a great leader and a great friend, Dan Gumbel, business manager, local IBEW 164. Dan, to you and your colleagues, bless you. Joe Fiordaliso is with us, the president of the Board of Public Utilities. Sean LaTourette, the acting commissioner of the Department of Environmental Protection. We've got powerful advocates and activists with us. I will single one out because we're going to hear from her. One of my heroes, Kim Gaddy, is with us, who's the environmental justice organizer for Clean Water Action New Jersey. Kim, bless you and love you. And to all the others here who are helping this, Terry Tucker's in the house. There are many others here who deserve our thanks for this special day. Before we get to the on topic, let me just go to the side for two quick comments. COVID update, 3,114 more positives, including 214 right here in Essex County. So we're still in the thick of this thing. Sadly, with the heaviest hearts acknowledging 31 confirmed passings, including 4 here in Essex County. Having said that, the numbers continue to go, I'm knocking on wood, in a good direction. Hospitalizations are now down to 2,411. 178 people went in, 156 came out. The spot positivity rate continues to be under 10, which is not where it needs to be, but it's better than it was. The rate of transmission is under 1. We need to see those numbers continue to go in the right direction. I don't have an up-to-date vaccine number, but we're bearing down on 1.5 million shots in the arms, over 1 million first doses. Jim Kennedy, is that you? I didn't recognize you with the mask. A belated happy birthday, Chair in the Environmental Committee in the Assembly. Jim, thank you for being here and for your leadership. The other side point is I'm not a meteorologist, but I'm earning an amateur degree in both epidemiology and meteorology. But I do think the following: when you get into a good virtuous pattern in weather, particularly in the winter, you stay in it. And when you get into a bad pattern, you also stay in that. And we dodged a bullet last night, Joe. I think 13,000 max outages, which is a home run relative to our worst fears. You look at the pictures from Texas, we were fearing that we would live that in New Jersey, and for the most part we did not. But having said that, no good deed goes unpunished, and we've got a big snowstorm bearing down on us on Thursday, so more on that later. So thank you for bearing with me on stuff that has nothing to do with why we're here today. As I said, it is an extraordinary pleasure to be back in Newark. I'm here all the time, but importantly, and Kim, you'll remember this, this is where just a few months ago I signed and we signed together the strongest environmental justice law in the United States of America. That day we sent a clear message that economically disadvantaged areas of our state will no longer be dumping grounds, that the rights of our residents to clean air and water will no longer be overlooked, and that our government has a responsibility and indeed a moral duty to ensure those rights are upheld. This morning, we are here again in Newark to further that promise and continue New Jersey's role as a leader in the fight against climate change and the move to a green economy. As you know, one of my first actions as governor, and Sheila and I did it together, was to rejoin the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, which the previous administration pulled New Jersey out of in 2011. This year alone, RGGI, as it is known, has generated $94 million for us to invest in critical clean energy initiatives. How about that number? I feel like I'm in one of those old Ginsu knife commercials. That's not enough, though. We have more than this. We got 40, there's only a few of us of a certain age here. I remember that. Joe, I know you started Ginsu knives. We have 40, in addition to that, seriously, we have $45 million available to us through the Volkswagen Mitigation Trust Funds. So it's 94 plus 45. Today, between those two funds, I am thrilled to announce a significant investment in clean transportation that prioritizes job creation, overwhelmingly union jobs, Danny, and economic development with a specific focus on environmental justice communities. These projects, which range from electric school buses and garbage trucks to e-mobility projects, to port and cargo handling equipment, and investment in the electrification of NJ Transit buses, show the sheer breadth of transformation ahead of us. At our September environmental justice bill signing, I shared that there would be some who would look at our measure and cynically conclude that all we were doing was making a bureaucratic reform. I don't think that we will hear that today. Quite simply, when you value something, you put not just your words, but money toward it. And in New Jersey, we value the health and well-being of our residents. We value justice, fairness, and progress, and that is exactly what these rewards or awards are about. So right here in Newark, as the mayor previewed, one of our communities that suffers disproportionate effect of emissions and pollution, we continue to plant the seeds of change through today's investments. We are awarding more than $1 million to electric garbage trucks. By the way, shout out, Tom, to you and your colleagues right behind me from the Hudson County Motors in Secaucus. Thank you for the tour of this extraordinary vehicle. Addition to that, close to $2 million for charging stations for electric ride-share vehicles, and more than $7 million for medium and heavy-duty cargo handling equipment, and that is just Newark alone. I also want to note that with each of these investments, we increase the momentum for industry and government to scale up our network of electric charging stations across the state. And as these stations will be built primarily with union hands, the benefits to New Jersey families compound not only in the environmental sense, but in the economic sense as well. Over the past several years, Sheila and I have made many exciting announcements to position New Jersey at the forefront of the climate movement, not least of them our goal of reaching 100% clean energy economy by the year 2050, or in our first in the nation purpose-built wind port and new offshore wind manufacturing facility at the Paulsboro Marine Terminal. These projects and so many others will make New Jersey stronger, fairer, and healthier, both physically and economically. We understand that climate change is the single greatest long-term threat currently facing humanity, and combating it will require a whole-of-government approach. At the same time, our response to the threat of climate change presents an opportunity to make New Jersey the nation's leader of the green economy, creating family-sustaining jobs and opportunity for our state. So in that spirit, to ensure New Jersey's climate actions are coordinated across all of government, and just as importantly, that the wealth and opportunity generated by the green economy both benefit and reflect the diverse communities of our state, I am thrilled to announce today that I am signing an executive order to create the Office of Climate Action and the Green Economy, led by our senior policy advisor, that woman right there, who we'll hear from in a few minutes, Jane Cohen. Jane has been an incredible asset on environment, energy, and climate policy, and we are confident, Sheila and I, that she will bring an expert understanding of all of our climate actions and personal dedication to this new role. Congratulations, Jane. Under Jane, this new office will provide strategic leadership and coordination on our climate agenda, develop innovative ideas to move our agenda forward, and be instrumental in transitioning to a green economy. And further, as the Biden administration moves forward in its climate agenda, this office will be one critical way that New Jersey will not only strengthen our relationships with key decision makers at the federal level, as well as our regional partners, but demonstrate our leadership on a national scale. And finally, this new office will also oversee the third part of today's announcement, the newly formed New Jersey Council on the Green Economy. By the way, its honorary chair will be First Lady Tammy Murphy. Just as the investment of our RIGI and VW funds in environmental justice communities makes clear our commitment to putting our stronger and fairer agenda into action, so too will the New Jersey Council on the Green Economy. By working with a diverse group of stakeholders, both inside and outside government, including labor unions, utilities, businesses, and advocates. Amy Goldsmith, nice to see you. I didn't recognize you there with the mask earlier. This council will help us chart a course to a green economy with equity and justice at the front of the conversation. There is no denying that we have a lot on our plate right now. We are fighting our way, as the mayor said, out of the COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting economic crisis. But climate change is a reality we must face, not with fear and apprehension, but with an understanding that the clean energy economy is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for New Jersey. And with that, I'd like to welcome my incredible partner in government, the one and only, the singular, the Lieutenant Governor of the great state of New Jersey, Sheila Oliver.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Mayor Baraka for hosting us this morning. And I want to give a particular shout out to the men and women who work in the Newark Department of Public Works. Please give them some love. While we're here to discuss the executive order that the governor will sign today, there is no doubt that the Department of Public Works will play a big role as we move forward in creating a clean environment in the city of Newark, as we create the opportunity for the air to be cleaner. And you definitely have worked and are addressing making certain that there is clean water available to everyone. If you go around and talk to children from one end of the state to the other, our young people are so environmentally aware. That generation has had the opportunity to learn that you're not supposed to smoke. You're not supposed to mix plastic, in the regular garbage stream. And if you look at a lot of the activism around the nation, it is young people who are raising up their voices, asking us to leave a clean planet to them. And we have the obligation to do that. You do know, and the governor mentioned First Lady Tammy Murphy's involvement with the newly formed commission. She went to the New Jersey State Board of Education about a year ago and implored them to adopt curriculum standards in the field of environment for our young people. So from very early ages, they will do differently than the generations before them. And whenever I come down to this area, Freeling Heights and Avenue, I am reminded that in Newark, this was the center of the creation of a lot of environmental challenges. We were here several months ago, Governor Murphy, at the park and how that was cleaned up. We know that Brownsfields has been a focus in the city of Newark. But where we sit now was a lot of light industry, a lot of manufacturing, and a lot of job creation. So just like we shifted from a farm economy to an industrial economy, we're now going to move from an industrialized economy to one of technology and the environment. And it is going to be great. It's going to create new jobs and new professions for people in this state. It's really very exciting with the wind that's coming in, and we're all going to be able to breathe better and to sleep better at night. And I just want to thank Newark for playing a prominent role in this movement. And Mayor, I'm glad that you don't belong to the climate denier group. Thank you.
I think your point on the next generation, Sheila, is worth underscoring. They get it. In many respects, we're being dragged along by them as opposed to the other way around. Hats off to you, and thank you for everything you do. I mentioned her name earlier. She may not be known to many now, but she will be over time. Please help. Ileana Pinter-Marin is with us, Assemblywoman. Great to see you. Bless you. I'm being done in by masks and not being able to recognize people, so great to have you here, and thank you for being with us. Please help me welcome our senior policy advisor and the new head of the office that we're announcing by executive order today, Jane Cohen.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank Governor Murphy for his leadership and vision in the climate and environment space and allowing us to serve under the greenest governor in the country. I'd also like to thank First Lady Tammy Murphy for her expertise, as Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver just mentioned, and for the energy that we know she will bring to our new council as its honorary chair. I'd also like to thank BPU President Joe Fiordaliso, Acting Commissioner of the DEP, Sean LaTourette, and Chief Executive Officer of the EDA, Tim Sullivan, for their commitment and dedication to our clean energy work. And of course, all the advocates, Kim Gaddy and others who have been our partners along the way. I'd also like to mention Lisa Almeida and Evan Weiss in the Governor's Office for their partnership and support in all of our clean energy and environmental justice initiatives. 6 years ago, I was standing on the banks of Lake Turkana in northern Kenya, talking with farmers and herders about how, because of climate change, their children didn't have enough to eat, their crops and their livestock were dying, and their land, which had always been arid, had become increasingly and unbearably dry. And while the context and details of those conversations could not be any more different than where we are in New Jersey today, the themes are strikingly similar. That climate change threatens every aspect of our lives, that those who already are the most vulnerable bear the biggest burden, and that to address climate change, we need both individual action and bold commitments from government. Over the last 2 years that I've had the honor of serving our governor and our state as Energy and Environment Advisor, we've done some of these big things on environmental justice, electric vehicles, offshore wind, and others. And as we continue to lead our state towards our clean energy goals, with the principles of economic justice and equity and economic development at its center, we must be intentional about how we address both the challenges and the opportunities before us. That's why I'm so excited about the New Jersey Council on the Green Economy. Together with with First Lady Tammy Murphy at the helm and our co-chairs of DEP, BPU, and the Department of Labor and Workforce Development, along with our partners in organized labor, we will chart our path towards a just transition to a clean economy. We will ensure that the training of today matches the jobs of tomorrow, and that our workers can transition into family-sustaining clean energy jobs, and that new pathways for employment open up that welcome a diverse and inclusive workforce. Climate change is not just within one agency or department, and for us to be as bold and intentional as possible with our actions, we must take a whole-of-government approach. The Governor's Office of Climate Action and the Green Economy will oversee the many pieces of climate work that are taking seed across the administration and ensure that we are speaking with one voice and that we are saying we will continue our leadership, we will continue our commitment to equity and environmental justice, and together we will drive New Jersey's clean and equitable energy future and chart a path forward to transitioning to a green economy that will be an engine for job creation and economic growth for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Really well done. Thank you for that and those words. I mentioned her earlier as one of my heroes. I think I'm joined by many who would say the same thing about her. Please help me welcome the environmental justice organizer for Clean Water Action New Jersey, the one and only Kim Gaddy. God bless you, Kim.
Thank you, Governor Murphy, Lieutenant Governor Oliver, Commissioner Sean Letcheret, Deputy Commissioner Olivia Glenn. Thank you all for having this announcement in my great city, Newark, New Jersey, and thank you, Mayor Baraka, for all that you continue to do. As a resident of Newark and mother of 3 asthmatic children, we are on the front lines of overlapping health, economic, racial injustice, democratic and climate crises, so I'm glad to see our governor focusing funding and attention on environmental justice, green jobs, and climate here today. The technology to replace diesel trucks with zero-emission vehicles is available now, and it can't happen fast enough. Gradual, incremental steps just won't do. The price we pay every day in my South Ward community is increased asthma attacks, cancers, heart attacks, and death, which is unacceptable. All of the relevant government agencies have to make this shift to zero emissions happen as quickly as possible. All of the vehicles and equipment serving the Newark Port and the 22,000 daily truck trips must be electrified, for they pass through our neighborhoods causing harm each and every day. This will create decent paying jobs, well, clean energy jobs, building electric vehicles, installing charging infrastructure, and maintaining both. We must ensure that clean, renewable energy powers electrification and not fossil fuels. We must also ensure local residents are prioritized for these jobs, and communities most impacted by the pollution see the reductions first. Today's actions are good steps on a long trip that we just begun. Polluters continue to unfairly target overburdened communities. In Newark alone, a new frac gas plant and a new sewage plant have been proposed in just the past month. The science dictates we have to do even more faster. 45% reductions in greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 is our goal. The state's budget sets the moral compass for our state's critical programs, from New Jersey Transit and the Clean Energy Fund to NJDEP. They cannot remain unfunded and achieve a different and more just outcome. So the South Ward Environmental Alliance and Clean Water Action thank Governor Murphy. We look forward to working with the Murphy administration, putting the pedal to the metal even further. God bless.
A couple of things before we bring up Dan Gumble, our last speaker. Kim, thank you for that call to arms. Secondly, Olivia Glenn, could you please stand up, Olivia? We owe Olivia an enormous amount, including Olivia, not just in your environmental advocacy and leadership, but you've paid a price in COVID that is very personal. And God bless your mom, and stay strong, and thank you for everything you do, okay? God bless you. Kim, I'll speak out of both sides of my mouth, which I'm particularly good at. On the one hand, I know Sheila, the mayor, completely agree with you that we can't meander, we can't take our time. There's a call to action. The federal administration that has just left set us backward, so it's even more of a hole that we're digging out of in 2021 than it was in 2017. Secondly, Sean LaTourette tells me this is already online. I mentioned some of the money that's going into Newark. It is really staggering to look. I looked through it over the weekend, the list of stuff that's getting funded right now. So I think it's beginning to meet the moment, but I say beginning. We're spiking no footballs here. This is, as you said, this is a journey, and this is an important moment. Let there be no doubt about it. We should feel good about it, but this is a long journey. So thank you, Kim, for everything. Dan Gumble, last but not least, Dan, business manager, IBEW Local 164, a great labor leader representing our brothers and sisters in labor. Dan Gumble, come on down.
Good morning, everyone. What can we say? Clean air, green jobs, what could be better? Governor, you've been nothing but wonderful with the trades, and of course, green, that's you, that's your color, right? You're Irish. Anyway, I look very much forward, as myself and the rest of the building trades, to have these union jobs working collectively with Governor Murphy, Ras Barak, the mayor of Newark, and Joe D., who's not here today at the county. We look very much forward to putting the residents of New Jersey, the county of Essex, and the city of Newark with these new green jobs. It's enlightening to know that we are really working together collectively and that we're trying to do the right thing here. Clean air is so important. What's more important than our health? We're going through this crisis right now, and we'll get through it, and you're doing a great job, Governor. It's not an easy job, and God bless you, but thank you for making the union trades part of this whole thing, and really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Dan, thank you. We are the quintessential American union state, and today is yet another data point that underscores that. I want to thank Mayor Ras Baraka, bless you, for everything you do, including hosting us so graciously today. Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver, Jane Cohen, Danny Gumble, Kim Gaddy, Amy Goldsmith. Amy, I didn't give you a proper homage earlier on. Jim Kennedy, Eliana Pinter-Marin, thank you so much. Joe Fiordaliso, Sean LaTourette, Olivia, bless you, Terry, to each and every one of you. Big day. I get the great thrill right now to walk 15 feet to my left and sign the executive order. I think we won't gather for social distancing, Aswan. I'll do it on my own. You will sanitize the pens and make sure they get to you in a COVID respectful format. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. Executive order 221. Right there. You're going to sanitize this.